Ukraine's defense minister says his country has become a de facto member of the NATO military alliance as Western nations continue to supply weapons for the war against Russia. Speaking to the BBC, Oleksii Reznikov said there had been a change among some allies, once concerned that the military assistance could be seen as an escalation by Russia. Well, our correspondent Hugo Bachega sat down with him.
We have a lot of modern NATO standard weaponry. It means that Ukraine as country and the armed forces of Ukraine, or our sector of security and defense, became the member of NATO de facto, not de jure, but de facto, because we have weaponry, we have the understanding how to use it, we have this interoperability level of the communication with our partners, and I'm sure that in next future we will become the member of NATO de jure.
Well, that's a controversial statement. You're saying that Ukraine is de facto NATO member.
Why controversial? It's true. It's a fact. I'm a lawyer, you know. I'm operated with the facts.
But the perception has been that any kind of, let's say, tanks being sent to Ukraine would be seen as an escalation by Russia. You're not concerned about how Russia could respond?
I have a war in my country. What kind of escalation level should be more? They striking, they hitting my cities, my hospitals, my kindergartens, my schools, and they killed a lot of civilians, a lot of children. They are army of rapists, murder, and looters. What the next level of escalation? They're here in my country.
Our correspondent in Kyiv is James Waterhouse, who joins me now. James, obviously Ukraine isn't a member of NATO, but by saying that they're a de facto member, is the defence minister trying to lock in help, or is he trying to just underline the kind of Western help that he's getting?
I think it's the latter, to be honest with you. I think Hugo was talking to a defence minister who is no longer afraid. I mean, you need to cast your minds back to the build-up to this invasion at the start of the war, where such a suggestion would make the West extremely worried, because the Ukrainian government in January was getting extremely frustrated with what they saw as the lack of Western help. Countries like Germany that were providing helmets or military hospitals. Allies didn't want to provide offensive measures at the time because they didn't want Russia to escalate at a time when they were gathering thousands of troops on the border. Fast forward to 11 months later, and he's the defence minister of a country that has endured and continues to endure a full-scale invasion. There has been overwhelming evidence of war crimes committed by Russian forces, where civilians have been deliberately targeted and killed, where thousands, tens of thousands, if not more, have died. So if you look at it from the Ukrainian perspective, they are no longer afraid, and they've also been pretty effective at campaigning for more. We talk about the helmets in January. Along that journey, they have successfully secured long-range missiles, HIMARS systems, which they've used to great effect to effectively isolate Russian troops. And now they look set to receive armoured vehicles, tanks, which, when we're talking in minus temperatures with hard, frosty ground, those could well be pivotal in fighting.
OK, James, thanks very much for that update from Kyiv.